Hey guys, welcome to Algebra 1 Tutor. Just wanted to send out a quick video on the importance of knowing when we can divide by zero. So this is something we should have been doing over time, learning how to divide and multiply, which are inverse operations. But when it comes to dividing by zero, a lot of students just get stuck and they just guess. So since we have lots of strategies on how to divide by zero, let's talk about one of them, which is solve a simpler problem. So instead of guessing, what I recommend is that you go ahead and solve a simpler problem. And let's just take, the division problem, 8 divided by 2. So we know, or should know, by the time that 8 divided by 2 is equal to 4. And as I said, multiplication and division are inverse operations, which means they undo each other. So if you struggle with division, but you know your multiplication facts, have some faith. You'll get division quickly. It is so important that we know our multiplication facts. So we need to start working on those. But we know that division could be written multiple different ways. We could write it like that. We can write it as a fraction. But 8 divided by 2 is equal to 4. So we know if we undo division, do the inverse operation, which is multiplication, we take our quotient, 4, and we multiply it times the denominator, or what's called the divisor, it better equal the numerator, or the dividend. So is 4 times 2 equal to 8? It is, and that's one way we know that we have the right answer. So simple problem, you can write it down on your paper anytime you're confused. But that brings us to, what do we do when we're dividing by zero? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take two different division problems here. Let's take 0 divided by 8 and 8 divided by 0. And again, I'm just making these numbers up. There's nothing special about them. But based on the fact that we know 8 divided by 2 is equal to 4, 4 times 2 equals 8, we can use that knowledge to help us figure out what our answer is. So the question is if you're given 0 divided by 8, is that possible, and what is the answer? We need to think about a number that we can multiply times 8 that equals 0. And the only number that works is 0. So 0 divided by 8 equals 0. But my experience has been most students, when they're given a question like this, 8 divided by 0, they think it's also 0. So what I want you to do is I want you to stop a second and think, is there a number that when I multiply it times 0 is equal to 8? And hopefully we know that the identity property of 0, which is anything times 0 equals 0, so it doesn't matter what number we put in here, and it's not 0, anything times 0 equals 0. So in math, this is what we call undefined. And we will see this more later in Algebra 1 when we get to different types of functions. But again, when you are struggling and you, instead of guessing, just give yourself a quick strategy of solve a simple problem, and make sure you reach out to me if there's anything I can do to help. Have a great day.